Breaking foreshadow, roster moves, strategy AFC East, September to January. Today the vibe in Foxborough is different. 4 moves are reshaping the week, and none of them are small. There's a quiet adjustment that could redefine the secondary, a much-debated signing that's starting to silence critics, a roster move with a hidden message, and a divisional showdown that exposes strengths and weaknesses. If you know the game, you know this. Details win in September and decide January. What's the plan behind these decisions, and who gains ground if someone returns? You won't believe what we've got today. So sit down, drop a like, and let's dive straight into the news. Secondary, injuries, film room, explosives, third down. The front held up well against the run, but the air was wide open. Explosive yardage, long conversions, and receivers separating on third down. If that happened against an offense still finding itself, imagine facing elite speed in a divisional matchup on the road. The question is direct. Can you compete snap to snap without fixing communication, technique, and depth? Medical watch, Christian Gonzalez, coverage rotation, disguise, time to throw. The answer hinges on one medical decision and one tactical one. If Gonzalez is cleared, the board rearranges instantly. He lets you rotate responsibilities, toggle between press and bail, disguise cover 3 and quarter half, and most importantly, shave half a second off the time the pass rush needs. That half second is the difference between Tyreek Hill catching in stride or being forced to the sideline. Without him, the priority becomes protecting the edge against speed with perfect leverage, clean hip transitions, and constant safety help. The plan includes selective brackets in key moments, trap coverages to hunt slants, and cloud variations. Technique, Carlton Davis, Marcus Jones. Communication, the adjustment is technical and disciplined too. Carlton Davis is physical and competitive, but he can't live on an island for 4 quarters. Marcus Jones has burst and aggression, but he needs coverages that hide deep matchup disadvantages. The Las Vegas tape showed issues with angles and communication, outside shoulder exposed at the release, eyes glued to the backfield, and slow handoffs on crosser-for-crosser exchanges. The fix starts on early downs, more symmetrical depths, coordinated jams, and calls that attack the launch point. On third and long, simulated pressures and mirrored routes over the middle. X factor, TE return. Nickel, angles, YAC. There's also a possible X factor in the middle of the field. If a big-bodied target truly debuts this week after unretiring, the intermediate zones will get hammered without mercy. The response, nickel with active hands at the stem, safeties disciplined between the numbers and the hash, and sure tackling after the catch. It's a game of details. The slot's first step, the free safety's angle, the hook curl timing. One lapse becomes a 30-yard run, and Miami loves turning short passes into explosives. Internal depth. While the staff tweaks the call sheet, the front office has to monitor the market. Adoree Jackson had an opener to forget and could become a trade target for a day 3 price. As a complimentary boundary, he offers experience and speed for specific packages. Stephen Gilmore, still a free agent, would be the perfect bridge. Situational snaps, leadership in the finer points, and tape that still commands respect. There are internal options too. Corey Ballentine knows the system, competes at the catch point, and can stabilize the weak side when rotations get tight. Tactically, the key is winning the first quarter and knocking Mike McDaniel's script off its rails. Efficient offense to avoid defensive marathons, special teams shortening the field, and a defense denying slants and crossers. An early turnover changes the entire stadium's tone. A loud 3 and out makes Miami think twice about the deep play action. If Gonzalez returns, confidence grows. If not, the margin for error plummets, and the back office action could accelerate. And that wasn't even the most surprising part of the day. If there was one move that shook the offseason, it was signing Milton Williams. Plenty of fans were stunned. The richest contract in franchise history for a defensive tackle who until now had run on a limited snap count in Philadelphia. The critiques poured in. Overpaid, risky bet, too much money for a guy who's never been a full-time starter. But the field tends to speak louder than any headline, and in the opener, Williams left his signature on the opponent's jersey. Against the Raiders, while the secondary melted under deep shots, the defensive trench showed something new. Williams played 49 snaps, a career high, and never hid. 7 pressures, 2 quarterback hits, tackles for loss, and a pass rush win rate near 25%. These weren't empty numbers, they had real impact, forcing Geno Smith to speed up his reads and holding Gene T to just 55 rushing yards. Anyone expecting inconsistency saw a wall rise in the middle of the line. What's most interesting is that his performance didn't come in a vacuum. The synergy with Harold Landry III jumped off the screen. While Landry threatened the edge, Williams collapsed the pocket from the inside, forcing the quarterback into uncomfortable decisions. That's how New England stacked long third downs, and even while surrendering explosives through the air, kept the game alive to the end. This duo could become a nightmare for offensive coordinators. Speed off the edge and power inside, a puzzle that's tough to solve, snap after snap. Of course, one game doesn't erase every question. The contract is heavy, his consistency still needs to be built, and Mike Vrabel's tweaks require not just numbers, but tactical discipline week after week. But for those doubting the investment, the debut sent a clear message. New England didn't just buy production, they bought the potential for dominance. And note this, Williams didn't look gassed, even while doubling his workload. That stamina could be the key to keeping the defense's intensity high through January. Fans are already changing their tone. If there was skepticism last week, now there are comparisons to the anchor we've missed since Wilfork. Exaggeration? Maybe, but if he sustains this pace of pressures and tackles for loss, he'll justify every dollar. And when the secondary stabilizes again, the front's impact will only grow more obvious. The defense may not be finished, but it already has a solid pillar around which identity can be built. And the irony is hard to ignore. The team that lost the financial tug-of-war for Williams is the same one that watched him shine in last year's Super Bowl. The Eagles might have underestimated their own product, and the Patriots reaped the reward. Time will tell whether this was just an inspired debut or the start of a defensive era in Foxborough. What no one can deny is that the first impression was devastating, and that changes the entire tone up front. And while everyone is still digesting that performance, an unexpected move has rekindled doubt and opened new theories about what's really happening in the Patriots' defense. A small transaction just reshuffled the secondary's chessboard. 2 days after the opener, New England put a young cornerback on waivers. If you read the transaction cold, it's back of the roster churn. Inside the locker room, it usually means three things: a hard tape evaluation, a message of urgency, and maybe a positive signal from the medical staff. What changes for Sunday in Miami? More than it seems, every piece affects matchups, responsibilities, and how aggressive the defense can be. The name leaving was DJ James. Steady all summer, he earned snaps when injuries hit and made the initial 53. In the opener, he logged just 7 snaps. 2 days later, waivers. On paper, it's minor. In practice, it opens a clear possibility. Christian Gonzalez might be close to returning. If the top corner is back, the plan against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle levels up, with Davis on the other side, and the safeties freer to disguise coverages. There's also the depth management read. James could return to the practice squad, continuing his development without occupying an active spot. Internal options exist. Corey Ballentine has mileage and contributes on special teams. Miles Battle and Kobe Minor offer length and juice for zone looks, with eyes on the quarterback. It's not about flash, it's about execution. Proper leverage at the release, clean hip transitions, decisive tackle angles, and communication without static. There's a messaging layer too. The Las Vegas tape was brutal on perimeter discipline. Wrong leverage, eyes in the backfield, late exchanges on crossers, and exposed flats. Moving a young piece this early says assignment over promise. On a short week, the difference shows up fast. Chest to stem, discipline, lateral step, and contesting at the highest point. In the plan for Miami, micro becomes macro. With Gonzalez cleared, you can mix press and bail without exposing the edge. Use cloud and trap to shrink slants and digs. Apply selective brackets on Hill and trust that Davis and the safety can control the backside against Waddle. Without him, the margin of error shrinks. Flawless outside leverage, surgical safety rotations, and clean communication between hook, curl, and flat. One misstep becomes a 30-yard gallop. Fans are split. Some hate losing a young player with upside. Others see pragmatism. End of roster churn is a tool, not a crisis. What really matters is Wednesday and Thursday's practice reports. If Bruce shows up as a full participant, confidence spikes. If he's out, pressure grows for a veteran signing or a low-cost trade. And don't forget special teams. In tight games, the third phase tilts the field. Losing a depth corner changes coverage units. Opening space for a specialist who shortens the field or forces fair catches alters the math on field position. 2 long third downs forced into punts by clean execution can be the difference between surviving the opponent's opening script and getting steamrolled by it. Inside the locker room, the final message is blunt. No one has a permanent seat. If technique slips or communication breaks, the rotation moves. Davis needs to balance physicality with disciplined eyes. Marcus Jones must fix angles when he's the last man. And Alex Austin has to turn snaps into confidence. Bottom line, DJ James's exit isn't an earthquake, but it reveals plates shifting, confidence in the top corner's return, zero tolerance for errors, and meritocracy raising the bar. It's not a headline-grabbing change, but it primes the defense to find its identity. If the right return comes at the right time, the domino effect can be immediate. Fewer big plays, more third and longs won, and a defense back to setting the tone. And that still wasn't the most surprising part of the day. The next move could change how the opponent views the middle of the field. When the franchise announced DJ James's release, it looked like another footnote transaction. but the sharper read is that it opens the door for a long-awaited return, maybe the defense's most anticipated, Christian Gonzalez. From year one, the young corner showed elite instincts and technique. His absence in the opener against the Raiders was felt on every crossing route, on every contested ball that wasn't truly contested. Now the mere possibility of seeing him back completely changes the mood before the trip to Miami. The context is clear. Gonzalez missed significant training camp time with a muscle injury, and the team was cautious not to rush him back. However, by moving on from a depth piece in the secondary, the message is almost explicit. There's medical confidence that the starter is close. For fans, that's fuel for optimism. After all, facing Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle without your best corner felt like a suicide mission. With Gonzalez, you at least have a chance to level the field and keep the defense competitive. The tactical impact of his return is immediate. Gonzalez lets you play more press snaps without fear of getting beat deep, enables creative safety rotations, and frees Marcus Jones for hybrid roles. More than that, his presence forces offensive coordinators to think twice before attacking the strong side. In an NFL chess match where every move is calculated to the inch, having a piece that commands respect alters the opponent's plan before the snap. The fan reaction is already spreading. Excited comments about finally seeing the secondary at full strength, bold comparisons to past elite defenses, and that classic Patriots mix of hope and caution. Some say if Gonzalez is healthy, we can compete with any offense. Others remind, he's still young, we can't put it all on his shoulders. Both perspectives have a point. The truth is the defense's ceiling depends directly on his availability. Local reporters are speculating too. Practice reports will be dissected, every limited participation will become a headline, and any sign of Gonzalez running with the starters will light up social media. It's not just about a player returning, it's about trusting that the defense can carry the team while the offense finds its identity. If confirmed, a return against the Dolphins would be more than good news. It would be an early season pivot point. In the end, the message is simple. Releasing James cracks the door for the secondary's protagonist to reclaim his post. And if that happens in Miami Heat, the Patriots' early season narrative could flip overnight, because sometimes a player isn't just another name on the depth chart. He's the anchor, the balance, and the symbol of an entire defense. And that return might be exactly the fuel Foxborough needed to reignite. If the week began with doubts, it ends with one certainty. The Patriots have a plan. The trip to Miami will be the first real test of this new identity. Aggressive trenches with Milton Williams commanding respect, a more disciplined perimeter after a roster wake-up call, and the possible return of Christian Gonzalez resetting the defense's axis. It all demands execution, focus, and cold blood on third down. The question is, do you believe the turnaround starts Sunday? Drop your take in the comments, smash the like button, and subscribe so you don't miss a single chapter of this season with us.